Are music stores always trying to upsell the customer when they come in the store, or are they actually looking out for your interests? Let's discuss. Hello, and welcome to Tim Conley Drums. So, what is the deal with music stores? This topic came up in one of my comments where one of my viewers, possibly a subscriber, his name was Paul Marentet. And Paul, please, if I mispronounce your last name, I apologize. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. But anyways, Paul said that he was at a guitar center store, and he witnessed a kid, a beginner, with parents that knew nothing about drums, uh, in there looking to purchase a set of drums for a child beginner. And they were looking at, certain brands or whatever, but the guy in the store, the sales guy, was trying to sell them a DW kit, which is a very expensive high-end drum kit. And I guess Paul piped up and said he doesn't need this kind of a kit. He doesn't need to spend this much money and have this kind of expensive kit. And the guy's response, the salesman's response to Paul was, "What are you trying to do? Ruin my sale?" So that that comment, Paul said to me, "Hey, could you do a video on this topic?" Well, he's motivated me to absolutely discuss this. Paul, this is for you. It's dedicated to you. Thank you very much for your comment and giving me a topic to discuss. And this is a very heated topic, and I feel very passionate about this topic. Now, first of all, I think the guy in the Guitar Center store was wrong. The salesman, wrong. Now, this topic of, are they trying to upsell? The answer is yes. However, and I'm going to discuss the other side of that in a minute, but let's talk about the business part of it. Music stores don't sell a lot of instruments like people think that they do at the highest level. So DW drums, expensive guitars, expensive pianos, baby grand pianos and stuff like that. They just don't move drum kits over $2,000 and guitars over $2,000, pianos, keyboards, saxophones, etc., etc. That stuff moves really slow. When they get an opportunity where they think that they can take advantage of the customer and get them to buy something that maybe they don't need, some of them will try. Now, I don't know exactly, I don't deal with the Guitar Center. I was actually just in the Guitar Center recently when I was in Florida, because we don't have the Guitar Center here in Canada. But when I was in Florida, I was there. Unfortunately, I did a video, but it was a failed video because there was a kid in there banging on a drum kit the whole time. And all you could hear was the kid, who could barely play. Not that it matters, but there was a kid in there banging on the drums the whole time. And the video ended up being a dud because it was extremely annoying listening to the drums while I'm trying to talk and show video and stuff. So I am familiar with the Guitar Center. Air drum area too. And I noticed this really nice drum here with the wood hoop. It's a PDP, that's what I thought it was, just guessing, and not that expensive either. Wow, kind of surprising. Beautiful wood hoop. Wow, that's a nice snare. Now, let me tell you something about my experience in the Guitar Center quickly, and then we'll get to this topic. First of all, no salesman approached me or my daughter. The store was busy. There was only 2 of them in there. Now, when I was videotaping, I didn't even bother to ask permission. I almost always do. Actually, I always do, except for this one time. The reason I didn't ask, because I'm going to be honest, there was no one to ask. The store was really busy, it was noisy. There was only 2 sales guys that I saw at a desk. There may have been another sales guy in another area in the keyboard section, dealing with customers as well. So they were all busy. When I went into the drum section, there was nobody there. So I actually wanted to interview somebody from the drum section and talk to them about drum sales and the business and just a quick interview like I did on my Hollywood drum shop interview and also my Ace Drums interview as well. I like to interview the owner or at least a guy that works in the area. But I was unable to do that, so that was another reason why I scrapped that video. So this isn't a dig against Guitar Center at all. I'm just telling you what happened to me in regards to my video. I gotta find a worker to be able to talk to somebody about the store and stuff. I like to interview people as well. Now to get back to the topic of what Paul was talking about, this stuff sits and sits and sits. DW drums will sit on the shelves for God knows how long. They just don't sell them. The reason is because the majority of people buying instruments are beginners and or amateur players. Professional musicians, like, they don't really make up the bulk of the sales for any music store. Now, I actually buy quite a bit of stuff. I love buying new stuff. I like buying things. I've actually given a store that I'm going to mention here in a minute a ton of business. Not just me buying stuff, but also me telling my students to go to this particular store and buy stuff. So I can't speak for every music store, but I do know the business and understand the business. In the end, it's a business. It's just like going into a car dealership. They want to sell you and add things onto the sale. They want to sell you a nice car, but then they want to add on, extra things to it to get you to, spend more money, and it's the upsell. In the drum world, it's really hard to add stuff on to an actual drum kit sale unless we're talking about drum throne, cymbals, hardware, sticks, etc., etc., etc. I mean, you can add a ton of stuff on to a drum sale if you want to, but if you're just buying the shells and you're not buying all the stuff that goes with it, well, there's not much to upsell other than the quality of the kit you're buying. So if you go in and you're going to buy a cheap Mapex kit, let's say, for $4.99, if the salesman thinks he can talk you into buying a Yamaha Stage Custom for $4,500, he's going to at least try. And I get it because that's sort of his mandate as well. I'm sure the store wants to move the more expensive stuff. They probably sell 10 times the cheap stuff compared to the expensive stuff. In terms of sales, they sell way more cheap stuff than they do expensive stuff. And I think that's across the board. Now, the music store that I deal with is Long and McQuaid in Burlington. This isn't a plug for Long and McQuaid, but I'm going to tell you the honest truth. Long and McQuaid in Burlington has the best sales staff. They treat me like a king. Aaron and Ian is the manager. Aaron's one of the workers. Those guys treat me so good every time I go in there. I recently purchased my daughter a guitar and an amp. And on her second use, right after Christmas, the guitar plug broke off in the amp. Well, 2 days ago, I took it to see Aaron because I bought it off Aaron, even though he's the drum guy. I still bought the guitar off him. And immediately he gives me a new amp and an upgraded plug. I mean, this is the kind of service that I'm talking about. They are excellent. They always have treated me well, and they've always treated my students well. So when my students come to me and they say, or the parents come to me and say, well, we want to buy little Jimmy a drum kit. We have no idea what to buy. So they turn to me because they trust me. Well, not only do I give them my opinion, which is a beginner level kit, beginner level cymbals, et cetera, et cetera. The only thing is I always tell them to buy better quality drumsticks, not really crappy drumsticks because they don't last. But I'll give them Vic Firth 5As or Vic Firth Extreme 5As, which is what I use. But if they want to buy ProMarks, Zildjians, whatever, it's completely up to them. But they're asking my opinion. Now, on top of my opinion as to what kit they should buy and what cymbals they could buy, because I've been asked it a million times, I also inform them with incredible sense of trust that if you go to Long McQuaid in Burlington, Ontario, and you deal with Aaron or Ian, neither one of those guys are going to lead you astray. They will never try and upsell a beginner drummer a DW kit, an expensive Pearl kit, an expensive Yamaha kit. They sell a ton of cheaper drum kits. And I know this because my students tell me. So not only do I recommend them and then they go there, but after they make the purchase and they come back, I'll say, hey, how was your experience at Long McQuaid? Who did you deal with? Oh, we dealt with Aaron, and Aaron was awesome. He was everything you said he was. So there are good salespeople out there. So it depends on who you're dealing with. Now, I have not an agreement or an allegiance or anything like that with Long McQuaid. I'm telling you from my own experience of dealing with them for years and years and years, and specifically over the last 10 years with Aaron, and even longer with Ian, because Ian's been working there longer than Aaron. And they're both great. They always treat me with a smile and a greeting, and they're always happy to see me. They always make sure that I'm whatever I need is taken care of, and they'll go out of their way to get stuff in for me as quickly as they can. And they treat, more importantly, they treat my students, and not just my students, family and friends for that matter, that come to me and say, hey, I'm thinking about getting this cymbal or this drum pedal. Where should I go? Who should I talk to? Whatever. Well, I always tell them to go see Aaron or Ian at Long McQuaid in Burlington, because it's a great store. Now, I also have dealt with other stores. Used to deal with Steve's Music. I used to deal with Long McQuaid in Toronto, and I'm occasionally, not very often, deal with Long McQuaid here in Hamilton, but I usually deal with Burlington exclusively because of the reason that the customer service is so good there. That issue I had with the amp, man, I walked in there with a dead amp and came out with a brand new one. They really looked after me, and I was extremely happy. And my daughter was thrilled to get her amp back that broke on a second try. And nothing against the product. The product is good, but the cable was crap. So that's why I got an upgraded cable, so that she wouldn't have that problem again. So, Paul, in response to Paul's comment, yes, businesses are trying to make money. They will try and upsell. It's the thing is that you've got to talk to, if your child has a drum teacher, talk to your drum teacher. Like I've been spoken to thousands of times by parents and the kid, if the kid's older, or adult students. Hey, Tim, I'm thinking about buying a drum kit. Now, the other thing is, sometimes I'm thinking about buying an upgraded drum kit. Okay, so it's not a beginner kit, it's a step up. So then maybe I will recommend a drum kit that's a step up. Sometimes I'll say, well, how much money are you willing to spend? Well, I want to spend maximum $2,500. Okay, well, that opens up a whole new area of quality drum kits, because for $2,500, you can get a really, really nice quality drum kit. Now, if you want to get an entire kit, everything in, usually that doesn't happen too often. I know that Mapex puts a package together, because that's the one that they sell quite often at Long McQuaid, even though they may have stopped doing this. But in the past, Mapex would put a complete kit together. Everything, the drums, the hardware, the cymbals, the bass drum pedal, the stool, and all this sticks and everything that goes with it, a full drum kit. So, because it's confusing for parents when they go in, they have to trust in what I tell them, which they do, but The real trust has to be put into the salesman. And that's why I tell them when you go and see Aaron, he is not going to feed you BS. He is going to tell you straight up, this is what your kid needs. Now, like I said, if you're upgrading, you're not really going to be able to buy a complete package drum kit unless you go used. When you're buying new, usually you can buy a set of cymbals. So you don't have to buy individual cymbals. You can, but it's more expensive. But you can buy a pack. They come in a box. You can buy a pack, say, of, let's say you want to buy a set of Sabian HHX, let's just say. They're not cheap cymbals, but you can buy and get a bit of a deal on them because you're buying them in bulk, so to speak. And then you buy the drums, you got to buy the hardware, you got to buy a stool. Like, it's not cheap. Drums at a higher quality drum kit is not cheap. The drums right beside me here, these are Yamaha Recording Customs. The drums themselves are over $5,000. They're really top quality drums. They're fantastic. I love them. But if you include in the hardware, the cymbals and everything, we're talking the double pedal, the DW $1,000 double pedal. I mean, I've invested a ton of money into quality gear over the years. Now, salesmen, I find whenever I've dealt with them and they don't know me, they quickly realize, just by talking to me for just a few minutes, that they're not going to be able to do any kind of a upsell on me, because I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know exactly what I want. I don't go in there and ask them a lot of questions because I've already researched everything on the product before I go in there. Now, there's a few other stores that I sometimes deal with. There's one in Richmond Hill. There's Just Drums in Toronto, occasionally deal with. The Drum Shop. There's a bunch of them. I can't remember all the names. I mean, I've been in and been around so many drum stores and music stores that I can't, recall them all. But fundamentally, when I make a purchase, I want to make a purchase where I know that I can trust the guys that I'm dealing with. So that's my most important statement. Get a guy that you can connect with in a music store and make sure that you can trust him. If the guy tells you you need to buy Zildjian Sweet K's and one cymbal costs $600, but you're in there and you want to buy a Sabian B8 for $200, that guy's not looking out for your best interest. He's just trying to make a sale. So you have to be aware. Read the salesman out. If the salesman says to you straight up, oh, you want a Sabian B8? Yeah, that's great. I'm a beginner or intermediate drummer. I don't want to spend a lot of money. Here's the cymbal that I want. If he agrees with you and says, okay, I want to make you happy. I'm going to get you the cymbal that you want. And I'm not going to talk you into a feisty $800 ride cymbal or something. Then you can trust the guy if he's giving you straight answers. But if he tries to do the old upsell and, hey, if you're buying that cymbal, you're going to need this cymbal. You're going to need this splash. You're going to need this. You're going to need that. That's a bunch of baloney. Be an informed consumer. Be an informed customer. Talk to your drum teacher if you have one. If you don't have a drum teacher, talk to me. You guys can make a comment and ask me questions. Hey, I'm thinking about buying such and such a drum kit. What do you think of it? Now, it's based on my opinion, but my opinion is educated. It comes from a place of experience. I've been involved with many, many drum companies, cymbal companies, drum heads, all the drum gear. I'm very familiar with a lot of gear. And if I don't know, I'll ask Aaron, because Aaron deals with it. He knows more about it than even I do, because he deals with it every day. And he is a trusted sales guy that I believe in. And I know for 100%, the guy's got incredible integrity. He's got a great heart. He really means well, and he cares about the customers. The guy actually is not concerned about, oh, geez, I got to make an extra, $20 for myself on this sale. He's not thinking like that. He's thinking, what's the best thing that I can do to make this customer happy? A happy customer is a return customer. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars in that store. Why? Because I'm a happy customer. I'm a returning customer. They treat me really well, and they should treat everybody really well. So when you go into a music store and you're not getting the customer service that you think you deserve, and you're not being treated well. Now, don't always think you're going to get a deal, because sometimes the store itself can't give you a deal. For example, DW drums, really high-end stuff, generally speaking, doesn't really go on sale much. It's the same with all products. You ever see a Porsche going on sale? It doesn't really happen much. Anything that's super high end, they just feel that if you want it, you're willing to pay the price. Plus the amount of work and quality and everything that goes into a DW drum kit, they're worth the money. I used to have a DW drum kit. I used to have a glass. It was called broken glass finish DW drum kit collector series. It was an amazing drum kit. I'll put a picture of it right here so you can see it. I sold those drums, which I sort of regret because I love those drums, but I bought these Yamahas and I love them too. I sold those drums to get the Yamahas. Now, the thing about the DWs for me, reason I sold them was I really wanted these Yamahas because I love Yamaha drums, but they were really heavy. Also, I'm not a big fan of the virgin bass drum where the toms have to be mounted on cymbal stands because it's so tedious trying to get the right positioning for them. I prefer mounts where you put the tom on and it sits in the same place every time. You don't have to continually adjust them at every gig. With the virgin bass drum, which means there is no mounts holes in the drums have to be mounted on cymbal stands. With those, you're constantly adjusting them every single time. Even if you leave the mounts on the cymbal stands, when the drums go on, there's always a tendency that things have shifted. But I find with drums where you have like the Yes system, the mount system on the Yamaha Recording Customs, very high-end mount system, the Yes system is fantastic. I don't think I've ever had to adjust them even once after my initial adjustment. They always stay the same and they never move. But that's what you get with quality. With a cheaper drum kit, you're going to have issues. Now, that's the only downfall for the DW drums for me. Now, you can buy DW drum kits with a mount as well. Not every single DW drum kit is a virgin bass. I'm just saying for that broken glass finish collector series kit that I used to own, it was a virgin bass and they were heavy. And when I was lugging drums around, no roadie, as most of us don't have a guy that carries his stuff around. As I was getting older, I just thought, man, carrying these drums around, they're just so heavy. I'd like to get lighter drums, still really high-end quality drums, lighter drums, and I wanted the mount system to go into the bass drum. And setup is much, much easier because I'm all about light and easy setup. I want to get to the gig, set up quick, do my show, and then tear down and get out equally as fast. I just don't want to monkey around with having to deal with equipment issues. So anyways, guys, I hope that this video today helped you out a little bit. Trust the sales guy. That's what you have to do, or establish trust with the sales guy, I should say. If this guy is trying to get you to buy stuff you don't need, that's not a sales guy you can trust. But if the sales guy is giving you the straight up and you truly believe that he is coming from a place of honor and not a place of just trying to make a buck, those are the sales guys you want to connect with and stay with. Because I've been with the same sales guys now for years and years and years. And that's how you connect with them and get a trust element. There's a relationship that takes place if you're a consumer constantly of instruments like I am. Now, this doesn't just go for drums. This goes for any instrument in a music store. Okay, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Like I said, comment. Ask me any questions you want to ask me about drum gear, because I'm a drum gear nerd. As you can see, I've done lots of videos reviewing various drum gear, and I'm going to do one coming up again soon, so stay tuned for that. Thanks very much for watching. And as always, keep drumming. See ya.